Hi everyone, welcome back to What Valerie Makes. I'm Valerie, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little craft with me while I answer your questions. I love these videos and I've been wanting to do them, I've been wanting to do one, but I didn't know when to fit it in. But I recently hit 2,000 subscribers.
3, 2, 1, happy 2000!
I appreciate you all so much. I put on my YouTube community tab and on my Instagram, just like ask me anything so that I can answer questions while I do a little craft with you. And let's just get into some of the questions. Well, let me tell you what we're crafting. So I have been holding on to these. I found these, just these Converse at the thrift, and I think I still have the tag. They weren't that expensive they were $10, and they're basically brand new. Like, maybe somebody wore them like once or twice. Like, they were not dirty at all, just like a tiny little bit on the back, but the bottoms are like perfect. One of them did not have a shoelace, but like whatever, I can get a shoelace. But I have been wanting to get to thrift a pair because I wanted to try doing the embroidering around, you've seen them. And if not, here's my inspo. I'm going to inspo here. And so basically what I did was I drew with my chalk pencil what I wanted to roughly do. So I just hand drew it. And then I chose my color palette from my embroidery thread. And this is kind of what I'm going to be using. If you're not good at coming up with something or just like hand drawing it, I believe there are some kits on like Etsy or whatever that you can buy from artists who have like made a pattern for you to use. So if this isn't something that you feel confident in just hand drawing, I would definitely recommend going and purchasing them from one of the artists and giving it a go. I'm comfortable just hand drawing stuff and just doing it, but I get that some people are not. So that's what we're going to be crafting today, is just doing some hand embroidery while I answer your questions. And if you can't tell, I am wearing my velvet Sirocco jumpsuit that y'all voted for me to make for my Christmas outfit, and I did wear it on Christmas. I didn't throughout the day like at my family's house, but we actually had Christmas evening, just Jordan and I, and so we went out. So when we went out, I put this on and it was lovely, and I'm very happy with it. There are a few tweaks. I probably could have done a size down in the top, but for my first go, I think it came out pretty good, and it's super comfortable. It is a little warm, and for someone who who overheats easily, we'll see how much wear I actually get out of it. But for like special occasions, I think it's perfect. So this is a special occasion, and because it is drink of choice, Negroni. And yes, so I will be grouping these, and then the first group will be like personal questions, and then the second group is going to be more like sewing, crafting related questions. So we're going to get going with the personal questions right off the bat. And somebody did just like say, I would just like to know in general, like, let me know about you in general. What do you like? If you were to introduce yourself, what would you say? So I'll just start by saying that I live in Buffalo, And I grew up in Salamanca, which is about an hour and a half south of Buffalo, right on the Pennsylvania border. I grew up on an Indian reservation, and yeah, that was where I grew up. I met my husband there. We went to the same high school. We started dating when we were 17. 17? Yes, because we just celebrated 20 years together, and that means I'm 37. So yeah, I'm 37, and what other general thing? I have a pug, and I have a cat. Her name is Luna. My dog's name is Miles. Some of you might already know that. And yeah, so that's just like me personally. Also, in my last video, when I was asking if you guys had any questions, and I was like, ask me anything, what's my favorite color? Like, what's your favorite color? And someone asked me what my favorite color was. And my favorite color right now, it changes. It's usually in the same tone, but like my color changes. But right now, my favorite color is green. And then somebody else asked me, they asked me, like, where did you get your quirky humor from? And that they love it. I will say that I've always been kind of a silly person, and I don't know who I get it from. People have asked me what I do for a living, and I am a co-owner of a bakery here in Buffalo. The bakery is called Bread Hive, and we are a worker cooperative bakery, which means that if you are an employee, you can essentially buy into the business and become equal owner of the business. And I have been at Bread Hive for 9 years. Yes, it'll be 9, or it has been 9 years. Wow. And I was one of their very first on-board worker owners there. And we have grown so much from just a very small wholesale bread bakery. And that's what we do. We specialize in sourdough breads, bagels, and pretzels. So we had a very small wholesale spot at the start. And then we, a few years later, opened a cafe. And that's where I mostly work now. And we make sandwiches on our bread, on our product, and we do pastries and all sorts of stuff like that. So we have a great time. I really like my job, and it's a very flexible, it's a great work-life balance we've come to cultivate, and I really love my job. And if you're ever in Buffalo and you're looking for a good sandwich and a cup of coffee, come to Bread Hive. Someone also asked me what my husband does and for a job, because as some of you may know, that he does do all of my editing. And when I say he does all my editing, he's at the computer doing it, but I am sitting by him as well doing it. Like, I just kind of tell him and he's just so much faster than me. Like, he's so much faster. If I were to do it, it would take me 10 hours versus his 2. So we are both it's a really collaborative project this is, because he has some really great ideas for some of the stuff that he puts in it, and it's a fun project that we do together. What? It's just your fucking white ass bare legs. So what does he do for work? He is a public librarian. He has a master's in library sciences, and so he runs the makerspace at the Downtown Central Library in Buffalo. So that is what he does full time. And that is Miles. He loves to sleep and nap. It's his favorite. It's his favorite thing. And before I keep blabbing on, we're crafting. We gotta craft. So let me start with some flower petals. I am using a thicker needle than I normally would for embroidery, but because it's a shoe, I'm going to use this thicker needle. Am I gonna do this many threads? I guess I haven't gotten that far. Let's do it. All right, so I got another really fun question on Instagram, and somebody who is also named Valerie commented and asked me, how did you get your name? My name is also Valerie, but it's so rare to meet another name. Story, please. I love this question. When I asked my mother where I got my name from, she tells me that my dad picked it out. And so when I have asked him before why he liked Valerie so much, he just said that there is an actress by the name Valerie Bertinelli, and it was like on a show that he used to watch, and he just liked that name. He thought it was like, hadn't heard many Valeries before, and in 1986, that wasn't one of the popular names. So he just thought, oh, it's more of a unique name and I really like it. So basically my dad liked it because he liked this one actress off of a TV show he used to watch. So that's really where my name came from. And then the same person asked me if my mom sewed, and that's really funny. The answer is no. My mother did not sew or does not sew. And it's not funny because it's just like my mom she's not very crafty at all. And I can't wait to tell her someone asked me that question. She's very supportive and she loves to see what I do and all of that. So that's really nice. But she doesn't sew and she isn't very crafty. So I did not get that from my mother. I have a question that asks me what my favorite food is, and my best dish I ever had. And oh my gosh, if you don't know this about me, I love food. I love going to restaurants. I love spending money on good food. That's like one of my favorite things to do whenever I travel is scope out the good places for food. Now, I can't really tell you, if I had to say like what my favorite food is, I don't know. It changes all the time. I really love a nice, like kind of like classic, meaning like a meat and like a starch and a vegetable meal.
Meatloaf, scalloped potatoes, and velvety smooth sauce.
Honey, I don't know how you do it.
Make your meals not so plain with the plain meat potatoes from Betty Crocker.
I think that combination in one meal is just so, like, it just like brings me comfort. So that's like a good comfort food. But I'm also like down for like a handmade pasta dish of some sort. I also really love small like I like to get a bunch of appetizers at places, so stuff like octopus and like scallops. I don't have a favorite food. I just know that if I find a place that is known for good food, I'm gonna find something that I love, and I normally do. So I guess I can't really answer that. If I had to only eat one thing, it probably would be, oh my gosh, I don't even know. I love all food. I'm not kidding. And I'm not just saying that to like cop out of this question. Like, I'm honestly telling you I love all food and I can't choose one. Like, how can you choose between like pizza and like a steak or even a very good like roasted chicken or a beautiful piece of fish? It's all good. I can't choose. Don't make me. Do I have any travel plans coming up? And I don't have, so I try to do like one big-ish trip, a year. And I haven't made any like concrete plans. Like I haven't booked anything yet, but I am really wanting to go back to London to the knitting and stitching show in October. So that is probably going to happen. At least I hope so. And then my friend Kim, shout out Kim, hey. She really wants to come with me, so we were gonna like make this big trip with her and I and our partners. So we're gonna like do the London thing and then go to like Copenhagen and like maybe somewhere else too. So that might be in October, and that will be like our big trip for the year. I love London. I love it. Like I've gone twice, and I'll go back many more times. And yes, I know there's more places than London. I know that. But I just love it so much. So yeah, that's probably going to happen this year. We try to get together with some of our friends once a year and do something like a bit local. We have friends who are on the other side of the state of New York, and then we have friends in Philly, and we all try to meet up once a year and do something for like a long weekend. So we'll probably do that sometime in the summer. But other than those things, I don't have any those are things. So that is the answer to the question. Those two things. This is hard to do while talking. I think I'm doing good though. What do you think? What do you guys think? You can see this. So someone asked me how I met my partner, and I think I touched base on it a little bit, and we met in high school. We both grew up in Salamanca. Jordan was a grade ahead of me. So he graduated in 2004, and I graduated high school in 2005. He was in a band. He plays guitar and a bunch of other instruments. He's very musically talented. And I'm jealous about it. Like he can just like basically pick up an instrument and play it, and that's rude. And, so he played guitar in a band in high school, and that just like was it for me. And I was like, okay, I can be. And then my best friend at the time dated the drummer, and then another friend of mine at the time dated the bass player. So we basically just were like a bunch of groupie girlfriends, and it was fun though. But then we met in high school. His backyard connected to our high school. So after school, I'd just like walk over to his house and he'd drive me home. But yeah, I know it's pretty rare to find somebody that you spend basically the rest of your life with, right? When you're that age. But I am very lucky that we've been able to grow together in ways that complement each other. And have allowed each other to like turn into the people who we are inevitably becoming, and been able to like stick with each other during those times. And it hasn't always been easy, but it's definitely been worth it. And I'm very lucky, and I love him so much, a lot. So yeah, we met in high school. Somebody asked me, since we talked about instruments and Jordan playing like every instrument that he could probably get his hands on, but someone asked me if I play an instrument, and I did play the flute in high school, and I was pretty good. I was second chair. I went to Solo Fest, All County, all of that for band. So I did do that in high school, and occasionally I will pick up my flute. So maybe like a month ago, I was like, oh, and I still have one. So I picked it up, and I can do a few songs. Like I have a very easy, like Disney songs music sheet that I'll like fiddle around with every now and then. But when it comes to like playing an instrument on an everyday basis, that is a no from me. I always wanted to learn how to play the piano. Never got around to it. I know it's never too late. But that is something that I always wanted to learn how to do, but haven't done yet. And yeah, so the flute kind of, and everything else, no. I've asked if I have siblings, and I have one older sister. We're 18 months apart. And then I have one younger brother, and we're 11 years apart. So my mother and my father had me when they were pretty young, and then had my brother at like a grown-up age. And I don't, no offense to anyone who's a young parent. That's fine. If that's what you want, do you. I love it for you. But that was what happened. Do some more flowers here. Basically, I'm not doing a tutorial because I just am self-taught. So these stitches might not be exactly what they are called. So I'm not going to throw you any lingo here at all. I'm just going to show you what I'm doing, and then you can join in or find. I'll actually put some resources down in the description box because I have watched a few YouTube videos if I didn't know how to do some kind of embroidery. Like, obviously YouTube is the best source for any kind of craft, I feel like. So, yeah. So I'll link some resources down below for you guys if you're looking to like learn how to embroider. And also, like, there's no shame in some kits because my very first embroidery project was from a kit and it was great. I loved it, and you get everything that you need, instructions, like, it's all great. I love it so much. I love them so much. So if you're new to embroidering and you're like, I don't know how to start, I would suggest doing a kit because they really have everything you need. Okay, first flower done. Obviously, I'm not going to finish this whole thing, but I thought it'd be fun just to start a project with you guys as I talk to you about myself, which is weird. Cute. Okay. So I had a question asked, who are my favorite non-sewing YouTubers? And I have a couple that I'd like to mention. Probably all of them you probably have heard before. They have pretty good followings, but I've been really binge watching Shelby Sherritt, the potter from Australia. I just love her videos, and like, obviously her pottery is beautiful, but I'm really into watching like her mystery molds, and even just how she engages with us as the viewers is really special. Like, I feel she's just very wholesome, and I really enjoy watching her videos, and her content is really great. So I'm really into watching people do their crafts. So like watching her paint glazes and stuff on her pottery pieces is just like right up my alley for a nice soothing video. I love it. So she's definitely one non-sewing YouTuber that I've just been like in love with and just like binge watching nonstop. And then who else? I'm just looking at my list here. Tony, TL Yarn Craft, which you probably also, if you're into crochet, probably already follow. I love her videos, and I love also like just the resource. Like, I've learned so much stuff from Tony. Like, if you want to learn how to crochet, even if you don't, this is the thing, even if you don't crochet or knit, I feel like you can get something from Tony's videos. They're great and like so informative too if you're trying to learn something. I've learned many stitches from her. I go back to her videos all the time for crochet techniques because I'm visual, so I need like a video to follow for a lot of it. So Tony is a great resource if you're wanting, like you probably already know, but if you're wanting to learn crochet, I would say definitely her. And then I will say McKenna. I really love watching her videos. She's also probably someone a lot of you follow, but she does a lot of DIY stuff, room makeovers, and I just really enjoy her energy and her presence on YouTube. So I watch, and she brings out the content. I'm never wondering where McKenna is. She is on time. Like she posts no matter what. And as someone who posts videos to YouTube, I find it impressive that she can stick to a schedule like this, and she has for many years. So McKenna, I watch her. But those are like my main, and then my fun ones like Hot Ones. Love Hot Ones. And then I also watch Alison Roman home movies. Alison Roman's videos are amazing. And I actually, when I first before I even started my YouTube video, I looked at Jordan and was like, if we ever start a YouTube video for me, this is the vibe. Like I want Alison Roman home movies vibes in my videos. So I hope that I've been sprinkling a little bit of that into some of my videos because I love them. So those are the main people that I watch that are not sewing related, and I just don't have enough time to talk to you about all the sewing people that I do. I will just do a little screenshot of me scrolling through all of the people who I like my subscriptions so you can see. That would be fun. But there's many sewing there are many sewing YouTubers that I just really love. All right, let's get into the sewing question, shall we? Oh, before I get into sewing, someone asked me what my favorite Christmas movie is, and it's definitely 100% A Muppet's Christmas Carol. But as some of you might know if you follow me on Instagram, and I also talked about it in my last video, I do have a thing for Christmas movies, and I watch them every single day in the month of December. So I love a good 1940s Christmas movie. I have a ritual every year to go see It's a Wonderful Life at a local theater. So I love like classics, but also A Muppet's Christmas Carol. It's the best. And you cannot tell me otherwise.
Humbug.
So Christine asked me a couple questions, but the one on YouTube, she asked me about my husband doing my video editing, what is his background, and that my videos are so creative. Thank you, Christine. I appreciate you. Like I said, my husband is a librarian, but he also has background in like audio production. And just between all of that stuff is really kind of self-taught, like just between doing like, he does a lot of audio recording. So he is in a band and he plays, like I said, a bunch of instruments and does like a ton of audio recording. So he's just really used to like different editing softwares. So he doesn't have like a professional background in editing, but he is very good at it and has been self. Oh, hi everyone, I'm back. My battery was exhausted, that's what it told me. So I gave it a little rest, but we're back. I did do some more embroidery while I waited, just the screen part. So yes, that was the perfect intermission, I feel like, because that was the end of the personal questions and now into the sewing questions. I love sewing questions. So how did I start sewing? So my mother-in-law gave me an extra sewing machine that she had. And it was like brand new in the box. It was like a very beginner friendly, probably less than $100 Singer machine. Like very basic, gets the job done though machine. And she asked me if I wanted it. And I was like, sure, yes, I'll take it. So I received that from her, and then it sat in the box for like probably a year or two. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, I really want to learn how to sew. And I guess now's the time. I had already painted my kitchen cabinets. I already rearranged my living room. So then there was well, what do I do next? And so I was like, I'm really going to learn how to sew. I really want to. I had come across a couple videos from just watching YouTubers like do like DIY stuff. And I came across videos from Janelle from Rosary Apparel. And I came across videos from Lauren Johnson. And I was like, I think that I want to learn how to sew. Of course I have a knot. I have to have a knot in this video on this embroidery thread. Yikes. I'm going to make this work. Here I go. So it was really during the pandemic. So 2020. So it's really only been not even 4 years of me sewing. And as soon as I made my very first thing, I was like, yep, that's it. I was like, this is it. Because I had already, and then another question somebody asked me was sewing like my first craft? Like, were you crafty before? And I have always been crafty. Like, I feel like I've always been such a visual person. Even in I went to school for baking and pastry, and like I could see somebody pipe like a flower and then I could do it. Like I've always been like a very much, I can watch someone do something and then basically be able to do it. My brain's always been like that, like very visual. So I started doing a lot of hand embroidering. This was before sewing. So I did a lot of hand embroidery before. I did a lot of like just stuff like that, like paper crafts and anything crafty. I was all about. Like I want to do it all. In college, I went to school for visual arts. So I did, I had a concentration in photography. So I did photography, but I also did many semesters of like painting and drawing classes. And that's kind of what I went to school for to do, was like painting and drawing, but then it like turned into photography. So I've always really been like, so I have a bachelor's degree in visual arts and new media. So that's my bachelor's degree. And then I went to school on top of that for like a baking and pastry arts program. So I've always been very visual. So those have always been my crafts beforehand. And I never thought of sewing, and this is totally this is not an accurate statement whatsoever. But I have never been, I never thought of sewing as an art form before. But as soon as I started doing it and like the actual creativity that would just that I was experiencing, because I'm very much follow the patterns type of person. Like I want to follow the rules. I want to look at a recipe and make it. So me for looking at a pattern and then making it is very fun. But also I love the creativity of choosing a fabric or hacking a pattern or putting embellishments on something, or just being able to be a pillowcase, like, yeah, I can make, like, I can whip one of those up. Like, just the freedom that, like, being able to now sew gives me is like like something that I haven't felt with in other crafts. Like, I really feel like I can, like, do anything. Like, after learning to sew, like, it's really made me feel like I can learn how to do anything. And I've never felt that way with any other, like, craft or any other, like, medium. I've never felt like, oh, I know how to do that, so now I can basically tackle anything. And that's really what sewing has done for me. Another question asking me if I was self-taught, and yes, I was self-taught. When I was in middle school, we did take like 1/4 of a semester in like home ec, and we did learn how to do some sewing on a sewing machine in home ec class. And I do remember that, like, you had to pick a project to sew at the end of the quarter, and everyone chose like a pillow to like make a pillow, but I didn't. I chose to make a bean, like a little, you know, those Beanie Baby things that were like very popular back in like when we were when I was growing up in the 90s. But I could make like a little dog beanie bag, and so I did, and like no one else did that, and it came out so good. So like back then I didn't think anything of it, but like when I'm reminiscing about like my, like how I learned to sew, I always think of that class and being like, oh, I never wanted to do kind of I always kind of wanted to do the harder thing, and I was pretty successful at it. So I wish I still had that beanie, like that dog. I think it might be at my parents' house somewhere, but who knows. But I was very proud of it, especially since everyone else made a pillow and I had to seriously make like the little ears and like attach it to the head and make the head attach to the body and the legs and the tail, and everyone else just had to do like a pillowcase. So I was really proud of it. Someone asked me where all my beautiful fabrics come from, and that is online, my friends. Unfortunately, Buffalo, New York does not have a great fabric store. That is the saddest thing to me about living here. Everything else is great. But, well, great. But not having a like local fabric store to go to besides a Joann, and even still, guys, the local Joann to me is at least 20 minutes away. I have like 3 Joanns around me, and they're all 20 minutes away or more. And then even when you go there, it's just a crapshoot. Like, some of that stuff is not worth my money, and I don't want it. So I really purchase most of my fabrics online. I get a lot from Mood Fabrics. I get a lot from Minerva. And that is like, I even still like having Minerva ship that to me is like sometimes even more worth it than getting it from Joann's. That's how crazy it is to think. But those are like the 2 main places. I also, get stuff from like Blackbird Fabrics, Stone Mountain and Daughter. I would say between those 4 places, Style Maker Fabrics, between those 5 places, I get the majority of my fabrics from. And I'm not mad about it. I have another local friend, Mel. I am a part of a gym here in Buffalo, and it's Revolution, and they are like a spin and strength studio. So I have been a part of that gym for a while, and one of my friends there, she asked me, are you able to make a cool workout outfit, one that will withstand a rev ride? And I can. I haven't though. I haven't really dabbled into workout clothes, even though it's like if I don't have work clothes, like if I'm not at work, then I'm like then I'm going to a spin class. But like I haven't really dabbled in making athletic wear. It's something I am interested in. I just haven't really done it, and I'm not really sure why, but I'm sure I could if I if I wanted to, and I do want to. So I'm sure I can. I have a question from Lauren, who we've become Instagram buddies through, and Lauren is one of the past contestants of the Sewing Bee, and I followed her before, I started following her before I knew she was going to be on the Sewing Bee, just because she's like popped up in my feed, and we've like kind of kept tab, and we have a lot of similarities. Like when Lauren posted her like kind of get to know me posts about like when she started sewing, her interests, and stuff like that. Like a lot of our stuff like lines up a lot. So which I thought was very interesting, but how like a lot of sewers are also interested in like, I know a few sewers who also bake as like a job or like bake as like a passion. And so I find that that's really funny how those two kind of connect. But anyways, Lauren asked me if I could only pick one pattern to sew for 2024, what would it be? And that's hard. If I could only pick one pattern to sew for 2024, what would it be? I think I know. And I think that it would be the okay, after much thought, I think that it would actually be the Zadie jumpsuit. I've only made one, but if I only could choose one pattern to sew, I feel like that would tick off a lot of like essentials, right? Like I didn't want to pick a t-shirt, which I was kind of going for, because all year around, like all year long, I don't really want to just make a t-shirt. And then I was like thinking of the like a long sleeved shirt, but like in the summer I don't want to make that. But the Zadie jumpsuit is actually perfect because you can make it long sleeved or short sleeved, and it's a jumpsuit. You can make it into a play suit. Like there's a few options with that. You can make it it's meant for at least the version that I have, it's meant for woven fabrics, but I'm sure you could use jersey. Like there's so many options for it. So I would say probably the Zadie jumpsuit, and then a close second would be the Kilo wrap dress by Named. Like it's between those two because I feel like those two patterns really like tick off the things that I'm looking for when it comes to like sewing an outfit or like comfort sewing or sewing and then looking really good. Those are the two patterns. So it's between those, but I'm leaning towards the Zadie. But of course, there'll probably be something that pops up in 2024 that I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to make that and would make that. So I have another question about if you could be a fabric, what fabric would it be? I'm thinking of like probably a woven, something with like a pattern. I'm not saying floral because, I mean, I love a floral pattern, but some kind of like warm toned pattern woven fabric that's like a drapey and lovely. So I'm thinking of a flowy drapey woven fabric. That's what I would be. Yeah, that's the fabric I would be. And then the second part of this question is, have you ever tried to teach your husband to sew? And I say that all the time. When my husband's like, oh, can you make me this? Or, oh, like I would really like this. Or can I have one of the, or can you fix this for me? I'm always like, do you like, come on, like I can teach you. I will teach you. He just has no, like, he has no interest in like learning how to do it, which is fine because there's plenty of things that Jordan does that I don't have interest in learning how to do. And so I get it, but also that's funny. Like I've never actually tried to teach him, but I've always like joked about it, being like, I have a sewing machine, go ahead. Like go ahead and do it. That's funny. And then I think the last question that I'm going to answer in this video is, what is your favorite fabric from your stash? And that will also lead into like my next video because I want to talk about my stash and I want to talk about the new year, right? And like what my plans are. But this is a beautiful Liberty silk fabric that Jordan got me for my birthday last year. And I love it so much. It's like seriously all of my, like this tone of colors is exactly like my favorite colors. It's a beautiful, like silky, obviously it's silk, but this is probably my favorite fabric in my stash right now. And I have a lot of really nice fabrics. So this would happen to be my favorite one in my stash. I love it so much. But, I mean, I didn't get far in my craft, but I will update you on these shoes when I get them finished. But yeah, I think that's where I'm going to end it. I had so much fun answering your questions, and I really enjoyed engaging with you guys in this way because I really love to know personal things about the people I follow on YouTube. So I'm assuming that some of you might be the same as me and kind of want to know the know. And before I go, I got a lot of really great gifts this year. I really did. But my friend Maggie, also my coworker, a co-owner at Bread Hive, we do an owner gift exchange every year, and she got me these beautiful What Valerie Makes hangers because she watches my videos. She is such a lovely human, and I am so grateful for her. And I seriously cried when I opened these because it just means a lot to me that I have friends who listen, and like friends who are interested in the things that I love. And Maggie is definitely one of those people who have always been interested. We have similar interests, so that helps, but like has been like really asked me questions and wants to know more about, you know, what I'm making and what I'm doing. And for her to gift me these hangers is just so special. So just wanted to show you that too before I go, that this is like one of my favorite things that I was gifted this year. But I want to continue with What Valerie Makes here on YouTube, and I'm just so happy to be here. Okay, I could stop. Like, I'm done with this. I'm done with that. No crying on this video. No crying. But okay, so going in the new year, I know a lot of people do a lot of make 9 plans. And I tried to do that a few years ago before I started my YouTube channel, and kind of when I was newer to sewing, and it was kind of fun to plan it. But I just don't think that it is for me, and that's fine. But what I do like is that Liz from The Baker That Sews, she always does fabrics from her stash. She chooses 9 fabrics from her stash, and she wants to make those 9 up in the year. And I think because one of my sewing resolutions this year is to use up some of these really nice fabrics that I have in my stash, I think I'm going to go along with that. So look forward to that one coming up, because I will be pulling 9 fabrics from my stash and just sharing them with you, and maybe giving some of them I don't even have an idea for. So I'll be needing your help with that. But I think that is all for this video. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.